My name is Ethan Peck, and I play young Augustine Lofthouse. I think I was most excited about the message it sends to the people of Earth and how we're treating the Earth. Right? I've sort of described it as a warning letter from the future. And this is the kind of content that I most want to be a part of, that is really bringing awareness to what's happening here on this planet, because I do think we are in a dire time. Where the Earth is changing, seeming to change quickly. You know, I'm a believer in climate change, and the science is seeming to prove that it's occurring. And so to be a part of a piece of content like this is just a dream come true. You know, much in the way that you know, Star Trek is sort of very humanist and unifying and accepting. This is, you know, it has a lot of good that it's doing, and it's also very humanist. So I'm extremely proud to be a part of it. Augustine essentially, in my opinion, I would be curious to hear what George has to say about it. He essentially wants to supersede the limits of his life, right? He wants to achieve something so tremendous that he lives beyond himself, right? Which is his ego, right? He has this ego and this incredible intelligence, and he's discovered this moon orbiting Jupiter that we can potentially inhabit. And so in that way, I think he's amazing, because now I don't think being egocentric's the way to be, but it does also overlap with this sort of pragmatic quality, right? Of this Earth we have ruined it, and now for our survival, the survival of our species, we must find a second home. And so in that way, it's very noble. But I think his primary directive is to live beyond himself and to make himself bigger than he is, right? We're all the same. We're all human beings that will live and die, right? And so there's a bit of delusion there. So I think he's very successful in doing that, because he has discovered K23. And he has contributed so greatly to science and to humanity. When you're so focused, when you prioritize your work so far above basically your own life and the lives of others, you fail, because all we have here is each other. And I think ultimately, on a biological level, that's what we are, and we need each other. We need to continue into the future, and we do that through love and connection and reproduction, frankly. And so he fails. Well, I guess he does have a child, but he basically abandons her before she's born, which in a way is a discontinuation of his mind and who he is. Working with George is amazing. What I noticed first is his level of awareness is so detailed and so high. He has this ability to know and experience everything that's happening on set. And he's very specific about what he needs, and he gets what he wants, and he knows when he gets what he wants, right? He's not just shooting frivolously and capturing, you know, maybe we should get this, that. He has vision, and he pursues it, and he gets it. So in that way, it's very comforting, because sometimes you work with a director, and you know, every director has a different style. So not that this is the wrong way to do it, but they'll overshoot and maybe, you know, try something different, and which is fine too, but then you know that they're finding the film in post. And I think George really finds it in the moment, which is really thrilling to be a part of, and it almost feels like you're pushing the envelope a little bit, right? Because you're not getting so much to be safe, you're getting what you need. Sophie Rundle plays the role of Jean, who is Augustine's sort of lost love. And Sophie's, I think George has this gift of picking people that get along well and are really kind and generous as artists. And Sophie's very much falls into that category. Augustine has intimacy issues. You know, he's so absolutely guarded. And he does that, he defends himself with his dedication to his work, right? And so in a way, we didn't have to become too intimate. But definitely a familiarity and maybe an understanding of one another. But you know, we spoke about the circumstances of the scenes and the characters and what the world is like, and And we discovered a lot on the day as well. You know, some of the scenes we have are pretty scarce for the sake of protecting the sort of twist of the film, which I won't reveal. And so yeah, we just get along well, and that's kind of all that we needed. Augustine's inability to prioritize his relationship with Jean is really I think the heart of the film for his character, in a way. It really is serving this bigger picture, which is half of which is this lonely, lonely man, right? Who's at the end of the earth, at the end of humanity, in a way, right? It's such desolation. And when we come back in the flashbacks, and you see the way he not even ruined it, but just kind of never saw it, never saw how special Jean was, how much sort of love she had for him, and how he could have had both. You know, I think that's a mistake that people make, is that they think they can't be high achieving and have love. What's amazing about Netflix is that it reaches so many different countries. And there are tons of themes in this film that I think will speak to any culture, which is the pain of regret, right? I think it's not useful to live in regret, but we all ultimately have them. You know, you could go back and change something. I tend to take the stance of radical acceptance, which is, you know, it is what it is, and there's no point in wasting time thinking about what's happened. But in that way, again, it's another type of warning. You know, don't squander the people that are good to you, the people that love you. I think that's universal. Also that we need to take care of this planet. And I think we can all take a lesson from that, every country in the world. Here we are at the southern point of La Palma, which is of the Canaries. It's called Fuencaliente, and there's a lighthouse and a salt factory here, which is unlike anything I've ever seen. The sand is black from the volcanic rock. It's just a sight to behold, and it's such an alien landscape. And so Augustine, right, spends his life going from place to place, from observatory to observatory, and it must be so sort of mentally displacing or emotionally displacing, and I definitely feel a sense of that. But at the same time, it's warm, it's sunny, it's beautiful, it's welcoming, and it's really a gift as an actor to be put into another environment, because you can sort of attach these fictional feelings or ideas that the character has that you take on as your own to this sort of new foreign alien landscape. So yeah, it's just an absolute pleasure to be here. And then when I'm off camera, when I'm not working, I get to be here, you know, it's amazing. They were in Iceland for 2 months or something, 3 months. And I saw photos, right, when I first came in for my hair and makeup test. Jan, our wonderful head of makeup, she was showing me photos of George with his beard full of ice. And I was just like, that's real? And, but apparently they had a blast, but it must have been arduous. A good friend of mine sat me down a couple months ago, and he was feeling very depressed. And I was like, why? And he said, you know, I just don't know that I can be here for the next 50 years while this place burns. And I was like, yeah, I understand. And that really shook me. And I don't think that's too far from fiction at this point. You know, look what's happening in Australia. Look what's happening in California, where I'm from, where I'm born and raised. All over the world, we're seeing signs of global warming and its effects, which are pre-apocalyptic, you know? And so the more sort of films, television shows, videos, whatever, documentaries that come out about what's happening here, I think the better.